The Jeff Fox Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Jeff Fox Show right here on Rep Your City TV. We start off on a bit of a somber note as we have brought in my main man, Terry Elliott, of course, a businessman, community activist, to discuss with us the recent shooting death of a 7-year-old in Brownsville, Alana Washington. Terry, we're here once again.
Yes.
And at some point, it has to stop. I know that we're all tired of this.
Yeah.
But the first person I thought about when I read this horrific news and instantly got upset, I said, I got to call Terry.
Wow.
Because you're from Brownsville.
That's right. Fortunately, that's where I'm from. That's
and you've seen this before.
Over and over again, It happens, Jeff. We have situations where, you have to understand why it is happening.
Mm-hmm.
We always talking about, man, it need to stop, but we need to talk about more why it's happening. You know?
And it's not just here, folks. It's national.
All over the world.
Washington, D.C., Chicago, all over this country of ours.
That's right.
In every hood, every city. And it's us. And that's what I'm having a problem with. How do we deal with this? Is this on us as black men? What do we do?
It's not a color. It's not about color, really. We have more African American people have drive-bys and all type of situations like that. But this is not a color thing. This is basically when it comes to history and how we think as people.
Right.
And we don't know. I mean, we haven't really come up with a solution to slow it down. And we can't do it with marching. We can't do it with just arguing and complaining. We have to understand it is educating our newer generation and bringing our kids up in the light of being educated on what is going on with what can happen afterwards. Because a lot of these kids that's putting them guns out the window, they're not thinking about what's going to happen afterwards.
Right.
They want to they're not even thinking about getting the right person. They see them in the area, kids in the area, the families in the area, and they shoot up everything.
Right.
Everything. So my thing and what I'm saying to you is we need to think about what could we do to come up with a solution, like Rep Your City. Rep Your City getting the education out there to people. It's putting me and you in the front of the cameras. Jeff Fox Show, you getting information out. So the information that Rep Your City giving out, if Fox giving out, it is all with understanding and listening. But we have to raise our kids and start in the house, at home.
Yes.
So we got to think about what can we do to stop it or slow it down.
Right. And here's the opposition we face. As, again, you're saying it's not race, but people look at us as black people, and they say to us, well, you guys are marching, you guys are saying Black Lives Matter, you're angry, and, you're causing all of this disruption. What about when there's black-on-black crime? What about your communities? What about where you live? We can't allow this. We can't allow this, but this is King Carter all over again. I was there.
It is not only King Carter. This is before King Carter.
Yes.
They had many, many kids had lives that had been taken years before that.
Mm-hmm.
But the most of it started when the government told the people, if you put your hands and if you beat your child, we're going to put you in jail.
Ah.
When the minute they put out that law, right then they knew they took away our power of keeping our kids in control.
So this is deeper.
So we going back.
Yeah.
And not long ago, when the government involved themselves in our lives of saying, if you do this to your child. Now, you have some parents who were overdoing it when they beat their children.
Right.
They were overdo it, like they call it overkill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some parents will keep it in control to make sure that that child don't do that again. Mm-hmm. That's what kept you in control, me in control, Fish and Grits in control. Everything kept in control about how we brought our kids up. But when they knew when they did that, that more of our kids was going to go to jail. more of our kids, it's like opening a cage and letting the lion out. So when they did that, they let the lion out, but they made more money when the lion came out the cage because there's no control. You put more hands on me, I'm going to call them people on you.
Right.
So now the kid don't have nothing to worry about if they did do something wrong.
That fear is gone.
The fear factor is gone. But the government took that from us. Me, I tear my kids' ass up anyway. I'm excuse my French. I don't care. Government, police, come get me.
Right.
It was a time when the police officers used to come to your house and say, what he did, you need to beat him again. Go ahead, close the door. Because we knew what kept our kids in line. Now, there was a time also when the mafia would send somebody to kill somebody. But that hitman going to kill that person. He ain't spread up no houses. He ain't killing no people. Practice, execution, he gonna go and do exactly what he's supposed to do. But they said no women, no children. So my thing is we have no morals and no rules in our life with these younger generations. They just going to shoot up. Wherever they see them at, they shooting everything up.
Right. And there's no accountability. There's no no fear of the law, as you put it. It bothers us. But he's like, you need to put that same energy into your community that you put into Black Lives Matter. My thing is there's systemic racism that trickles down to us in our communities, which causes us almost like a crab in a bucket syndrome, where you're trying to get out and you can't because the others are pulling you down. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right with everything you said. Everything you just said, you're right with. But we doing barbershop talk right now. It's quick for us to go into a barbershop and talk about everything all day and all day. Y'all excuse my mask, but I want to keep the rules of the 6 feet and the being safe.
Yes.
Rep
We
Your
got our
City,
lights on right here
Rep Your
somewhere.
City said, make sure y'all stay safe. So I want to make sure I'm going to slide it down so y'all see who I am, but y'all
Right.
understand. I hope y'all hear me good.
Right.
But I think that what I think is we have to come up with a solution. I'm going to pull the mask a little bit while I speak. Okay. But we have to come up with a solution. Yes, we're sick of what's going down and how it's trickling down. But this media platform and Jeff Fox is education and information. Education, information. Let's reverse it. Information and education. Information is what Jeff Fox talk about.
Right.
History. Rep Your City talk about who's who, who's next, who's gonna blow. Everything shut down except for now, it's media. And media is the king now. Jeff Fox is the king now. Fish and Grits, Rep Your City is the king now. Terry Elliott, Circle of Brotherhood, Keon Hardeman is the key now. So once again, what you're saying, nothing is wrong with it. But what are we going to do with a follow-up of educating? Like we could take this show and do a segment once a month about educating the youth on consequences and things to do, what they can do to improve themselves and what to be smart about and what not to do. So this is that time now. Because we can talk good about a lot of stuff.
Right.
All day long about what's happening. But are we moving forward?
That's the thing.
Are we moving forward? Are we teaching somebody to change their ways?
Right.
Where I came from, Overtown, Brown Sub, Lincoln Field, Scott Projects, I grew up in all those areas. But out of me, 10 of my friends went to the wayside because they didn't have a person to tell them the difference between having sense and using common sense. Sense makes sense to those who have sense first time they hear it.
Right.
So some people don't hear it, and it don't make sense to them the first time they hear it.
Yeah.
So they do something different.
There's a bunch of 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds just running the streets with no father, with no structure at home. It's all a part of it. But what scares me, when we were kids, Terry, we'd knuckle up, you know? And yeah, there were some shootings back then, too, but it wasn't like this.
Nothing
It wasn't like this.
Nothing like this.
And these are children. Alana Washington, folks, was 7 years old. 7!
7.
When I was 7, I was playing with G.I. Joe and Evel Knievel. You know, and,
the G.I. Joe with the
Power Rangers.
G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
Yeah, with the Kung Fu grip. Like, what is this? These kids nowadays, and they're not even traumatized because of these things. They see it all the time. They see it all the time. And here we are with another shooting, and what are we going to see? Politicians, clergymen, forums like this, because we got to talk about it. But what are we going to do beyond that?
Well,
I have no ideas.
I would say this. The only idea you need to have is staying on the platform and delivering the information.
Mm-hmm.
The only ideas you need to have,
right?
Open your doors and let the clergymen, the politicians, and everybody come out and speak. We don't care about who they are. We care about what they say.
Right. Make a difference.
Another thing happened in our generation is babies was having babies.
Mm.
See, you said earlier, this ain't happened with us in our generation because we got the pots, the pans, the extension cords, the belts, the anything your mama can put her hand on.
And not only your mama, the neighbor too.
Then the neighbor beat you and say, you go home and get another whooping.
Yeah.
But right now you put your hands on today's kids because babies was having babies. Oh, you put your hand on my son, you ain't got the right putting your hand on my son. When your son was about to get killed. I don't care. Because the babies that was having babies don't have enough sense to use common sense to understand somebody was trying to help you. So it get real deep when we look at logistics and what we need to do, people. You need to do it. I need to do it. We need to wake up and straighten up and understand that babies was having babies.
Yeah. And hopefully, this will result in something positive because, again, we're talking about it again. And we don't need to see another one. We don't need to have another march. We don't need another reward going up. The reward for this one is at $47,000 right now. And I know the Circle of Brotherhood, you just came from out there. They're passing out flags. They're doing what they can. But some way, somehow, we got to figure this out.
Well, we kind of figuring it out as we move. Mm-hmm. It's just like this pandemic. They figuring it out of how to cure it as we go along.
Yeah. We're
going through the same thing as the pandemic with history. I said this when it came to King Carter's son when he got shot. I said, I don't care who it is. If I know who it is, I'm telling.
Right.
Because when you kill a kid, it's a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. Now, even if the intentions wasn't to kill that kid,
right,
you killed them, and whoever you was with involved, because you should have thought about what you was doing before you did it. So, God has His way of bringing things to light, and we got to keep faith.
I want to encourage you, Terry Elliott, because you've been fighting for a long time, and as you said, you come from that community. We just buried a legend in John Lewis. Who knows what it's like to fight his whole life. You've pretty much been doing the same thing right here, my friend. I want to encourage you, keep going out there, talking to the people, keep doing what you do during the holidays. You're tireless. I don't know where you get the energy from, but I want to thank you for the contributions you've made to this community. And we need more of you to help us get across, that river on the other side where there's peace.
Thank you, Jeff.
We need that in our community.
Well, I want to thank you, Jeff, and Fish and Grits and Rep Your City TV. Make sure y'all download that app so y'all get more information at tv.repyourcity.com. So y'all download again. Let me say it again. I'm gonna sneak my mask down inside. tv.repyourcityapp.com. Let me say it again. tv.repyourcityapp.com.
That's where we are, folks. Community activist, businessman, legend, Terry Elliott. Thank you very much, man.
Love you, Joe.
All right.
Yo. Rep your city.